Hey, Dr. Brad Murray. Today I want to talk about one of the best performance enhancer there is, strength gains. You increase strength, you're going to increase performance. That's why weights are everywhere. The stronger you are, that's a very sort of cause and effect increase in performance. You're going to run faster, you're going to jump higher, you're going to do all those elements of sport that are important. Now, I want to talk about one of the underutilized or under-recognized aspects of strength gains, neural adaptation. We all know if you constantly lift weights and you do it properly, you're going to get bigger, your muscles are going to get bigger. But that's only one small portion of what occurs with strength gains or what causes strength gains. We know that if we take somebody who hasn't really done too much lifting weights before, do something like a bench press, in a few weeks, 4 or 6 weeks, they're going to go and they're going to increase the amount they can do on the bench press significantly. Now, in this 6 weeks, we know from MRI studies that there's not a big increase in the overall cross-sectional area of the muscle. The muscle hasn't gotten bigger. What has happened is they've had a neural adaptation. The nerves are activating more efficiently, better, and it's not just a coordination thing. They're not just better technique. The muscles are actually able to be activated more because the nerves rather have adapted and the neural drive is increased. We see this in physiology. My background's in neuromuscular physiology with some of my graduate work. Really interested from day one about twitch potentiation, which is really simple. We take a muscle, we twitch it. Twitch it means we have an electric stimulation, and then we have a force transducer here, and then we measure how much force from a given twitch or a given electrical stimulus. It's going to look like this. Boom, electrical stimulation. We get a little bit of a blip right here. Force goes up with a little bit of a stimulation in the muscle. Now, if we do a couple max voluntary contractions, lift a heavy weight, flex your muscle asymmetrically as hard as you can. What happens then is what's called twitch potentiation. We go back and we give the exact same level of electrical stimulation, and we use the force transducer to see how much force we get. Now, after doing that, now we have a twitch that looks something like this. Nothing has changed at all except for previously we've done a max voluntary contraction and coming back. You would think you'd be tired, get less of a twitch, you get more. This is the neural adaptation. We also know fatigue is not due to biochemical mechanisms or mechanical mechanisms within the muscle. We know it's within peripheral nerves or the central nervous system. It's the nerves that's the rate limiting step here, not the size of the muscle or the architecture of the muscle. Pavel Tsatsouline he used to be the strength and conditioning director for special forces in Russia. If you've heard of a kettlebell and you're from North America, it's because of Pavel. He brought them to North America. This is what he used to train his men with, so you can thank him for that. He has this concept called greasing the groove, where essentially all it is being able to get as much neural drive out of what you're doing to help support any lifting or training that you're doing. There's one really simple trick, doing something that you can do 10 times, doing it only 3 to 5 times, regular times throughout the day. You're not going to fatigue, so you're not really breaking down the muscle. You're not going to get the delayed onset muscle soreness or the DOMS that you typically get, but you have to do it 5 days out of 7, let's say, where you have something like, if you're pretty strong in the upper body, a one-arm push-up, let's say, for the upper body, one-legged squat for the lower body, side plank with a leg abduction, maybe you can do 10 times. Any of these things, just going to do them a couple times throughout the day, big breaks in between, at least 10-15 minutes in between times when you're going to do a couple of these guys, and this trains your central nervous system to really turn on more effectively. We know that as you adapt and as you get stronger, you increase what's called myelination. This is just the wrapping coating that goes around the nerves. So not only does it increase the gauge of the nerve, the size of the nerve, but it increases the insulation. If you're thinking about the electrical cord or wire analogy, it's more insulated now. It's able to be way more efficient. Pavel likes to use the example of having a 4-cylinder car, where most people, even athletes that haven't trained it in this way, will be using 2 cylinders out of their 4 cylinders. And then what they think they want to do is add a whole bunch of muscle bulk, turn their car into a 6-cylinder, but then maybe they're still using 2 or 3 cylinders. What he proposes and what this greasing the groove or this neural adaptation causes, instead of leaving your 4-cylinder car, same amount of muscle size, Instead of having just 2 cylinders, use 3 cylinders, or all 4 cylinders to have a really good strict muscle drive. Now, we know this is very common. For example, there's sort of this universal strength training device called the Captains of Crush Grip Strength, and they go anywhere from sort of beginner levels all the way up to a level 4, or level 4, I think there's 6 people in the world that can close this grip strength device. Hands cause a lot of neural adaptation. If we're trying to get a reflex and we squeeze our hands together really hard, reflexes increase dramatically. This is a central nervous system, once again, priming thing. So the top guys, Mr. Olympia, the top 6 guys weren't able to close, I believe it was a 1.5 Captains of Crush. There's people that are, quite small, that don't have that size that can crush a 1.5. Bodybuilders are trying to add muscle bulk. They're not necessarily the strongest guys out there. They know that. A lot of people don't realize that. They look really big. They've added a lot of protein to their body. They've added a lot of size, but it's not necessarily the most efficient way. That's why a lot of athletes don't tend to look muscle bound. That's not a desired look, because it's not the desired effect that we're trying to have. You're trying to make people stronger through neural drive and through size, but it's a lot more efficient. You don't need to eat nearly as much if you go through and you do it with this neural adaptation technique. Pavel's able to do crazy feats of strength, and he doesn't look that big. His size isn't that big, but his neural adaptations and what he's able to get out of his central nervous system is huge. That's what I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to get across the point of strength gains don't just occur with increasing muscle size. Strength gains occur with increasing neural drive and neural adaptation. Now, take a look at Pavel's book, The Naked Warrior, for Grease to Groove techniques. He's got all kinds of great lifting techniques that aren't going to make you huge, but they're going to make you very strong, very functional.